evil and wicked things going on from nation to nation. They are rising them up, manifesting them, so that you can think about giving an account for how you lived your life. The end of all things is near. Therefore, be of sound judgment and sober spirit for the purpose of prayer, calling you into prayers, to keep fervent in your love for one another, because love covers a multitude of sin, to be hospitable to one another without complaint, to share in your suffering. Do not be surprised at the fiery ordeal among you, which comes upon you, for you are testing, as though some strange thing were happening to you. You might think it's the end of the world and the life and the world is over. We were given an example of Nnamdi Kanu for you to learn to teach. If you go again in the book of Mark in chapter 16, you will see the Great Commission. But I want to give you a little bit of background, because today we are giving a lot of background so that we can give a context to the word that you hear. So we ask you to pay attention to the word that you hear, because we are talking about what is happening today. Let us assume this issue in the Ukraine escalates, and then it becomes a war between nations and multitude of nations. And then you will see that nations will sign an agreement and want to come to take your soldiers to go and fight their war. They make a war, and those that make war will not go and stay in front of the war and be shot and be killed. They take other people's children and sacrifice them, wasting of human lives, wasting of blood. As you can see what is going on in Africa. But has Africa always been this way? Has Africa always been a wasteland? A place where there is no hope for the future? A place of hopelessness and helplessness? We want to bring it into context because of things that are going to happen in Africa and things that's going to come in the future. As has already been revealed, that you may know that as you can see, there are some changes going on. A lot of soldiers are coming to take over power, but are they coming to take over power to stay? No. They better not come to stay. They come to rebuild, to renew their people, to restore hope for the future of their people as quickly as possible, to help to restructure the system of government in order to bring a true democracy to African people. But are they bringing democracy to Africa? But where did the democracy come from? They are suffering because they have forsaken their history. They have forgotten their history. And out of ignorance of their history, they are living like someone else that don't know where they come from. Their purpose of getting there is only acceptable if it make the people and bring them to re-educate the people, reorientate the people, and bring the people together to come to peace and good times with one another, to live in harmony and in peace, so that blessings of the Lord shall flow into the place. Bringing it into my message to you today as a Christian country, as a Christian and ministry, in the teachings of Christ, that the word that you have heard himself yourself. Taking you to a little bit of background of what it means for a nation like Africa that has forsaken where they come from and who they are. We want you to look and we want you to see. And the question that we would like you to ask to answer today for yourself, that as you are and as you call yourself to be an African, regardless of where you are, anywhere in the world, have you forgotten People like Tertullian, the great Tertullian. Have you forgot people like Perpetua and Felicity? The history of their love and care for one another and refusal to bow before the Roman God or denounce their faith. And for that, they were killed and martyred. For those in Africa, have you forgotten someone like Clement of Alexandria? Have you forgotten Origen? The Origen of Alexandria. Have you forgotten Cyprian? Have you forgotten Athanasius? Or have you forgotten Augustine of Hippo? These are Africans. These are people that lay the foundations of Christian theology. As I stand before you today, every day I come to teach about the Word of God. And you find a lot of people everywhere trying to teach about the Word of God, teach what they don't know. And those that teach what they do know. And there is a lot of things in those that control the media narrative, about all the messages about how deplorable Africa is, how lawless Africa is, how useless Africa is, how worthless the leaders are. Has this always been the case for black people? Is it always been the case for Africans? The question that you have to ask is this, because we are trying to bring Christ from the context of the African culture and tradition to see if that can help to bring some change to Africa. Because right now, the whole world looks at Africa from the display of foolishness and ignorance of African leaders. Regardless of how much education they are, the more educated they are, the more foolish they are, because they don't live a life that is in conformity with the life of most civilized people, developed nations,